One Piece fans, welcome back to the next exciting episode of One Piece, episode 1156, the long-sought elbaph, the big reunion banquet. Now, before I do get into the content, do make sure you like, share, subscribe, turn on the post notifications. All that stuff really does help me out. One thing that has already been answered by this episode is it's not a new season, it's just was a big giant hiatus. They did pick up with the same numbering. It's episode 1156. They didn't start over with numbering, which is great in my view. Why would you want to start over at numbering with season 2 episode 1? That just wouldn't make any sense. We are now on episode 1156. Now, we're not going to spend too much on the beginning parts or anything like that, because pretty much everything at the beginning is a recap of everything that took place on Little Garden 2 years ago before the time skip. Now they're just having a big giant party on the giant pirate ship, the giant Eric. Everybody is having a good old fanciful time. Not much is after dancing right here or anything, so we're not going to be talking about that, other than this part right here where this guy is telling Sanji what this alcohol beverage that they like to drink is called. It's a green type beverage. It's called the Green Fairy, also known as absinthe. Absinthe is a very high concentrated alcohol, such that you might as well be drinking poison when you're drinking this stuff. It has a very much higher alcohol content than your traditional whiskey or your vodka. If you got the stomach for it, you could probably drink it, but I would probably go ahead and go the way of Chopper right here, which is spit that shit out of your mouth and don't drink a whole bunch of it, because you are going to go ahead and have some very bad nights if you're drinking that stuff there. So the true thing that was happening with this episode here actually happened here right in the middle. Right here, we're going to be coming to this island in the New World, which is called Gartel Island. Now, the important thing about the Gartel Island here is that Gartel Island is under the auspices of Red-Haired Shanks, who is one of the 4 emperors. The 4 emperors are Luffy, Buggy, Shanks, and Blackbeard. Anytime you do something that disrespects one of them, it can be taken as an act of war, and that's what this Bartolomeo is going to do. First of all, Bartolomeo is not under the flag of Luffy. He's flying that flag on his own, and he's doing things independent of what Luffy has been doing. The island tells Bartolomeo that this island is under the flag of Red-Haired Shanks. This is Red-Haired Shanks, Jolly Roger right here. He's going to do something that is basically a declaration of war. He is going to set fire to that Jolly Roger. That cannot be tolerated in any way, shape, or form. It's just like in the real world, if you see someone else's flag being flown, you better not touch that flag, because it is an open declaration of war. And that is exactly how Shanks takes it here. Shanks shows up on the island and he thoroughly disciplines Bartolomeo, and Bartolomeo is given an ultimatum by Red-Haired Shanks and his crew, which is namely that he needs to go in there and poison Luffy. Give him this vial right here. There's no way that Shanks is gonna poison Luffy, but Bartolomeo doesn't know that, so he drinks it instead. He just takes it, he chugs it down, he drinks it. Lo and behold, he doesn't die. However, he wants to take on that responsibility because he's not actually a member of the Straw Hat crew. He has no permission to fly the Luffy's Jolly Roger, but he's doing it anyway because he's such a simp for Luffy. But once he is let go, he thinks Shanks is not gonna punish him in any way, shape, or form as they get out to sea, because he's not gonna kill them in front of all those people or anything like that. Oh boy, Yasopp is a straight killer. Yasopp is actually Usopp's father. He tells Shanks to step aside. There's only one man who can beat Usopp probably in sniping, and that's his own father. He shoots this ball, and it's just like a little ball right here, but look at the damage it does. It blows up that entire ship. It sinks the Bartle pirates to the bottom of the sea. Now, we don't know if they survived or not, but unfortunately, one of the things that I don't like about One Piece is that certain actions just don't have permanence in here, and we're going to get to that here in just a moment, where now we're over on Beehive Island. Blackbeard is throwing a fit because this bargaining chip with the world government, Kobe, has been lost. He's pissed off at Pizarro because he has no chip, or at least he doesn't think he has a chip that he can use to bargain with the world government. I don't think the world government would have traded for Kobe anyway, but I digress on that point. Because of what Vegapunk had done on Egghead Island, blasting that message all out to the world, it just upset the entire balance. Everybody knows about everything regarding the old world. He is pissed off, but then something else that I didn't realize was also true as well. Gecko Moria is also still alive too. You see right here, that's Pizarro also telling him at the same time that Gecko Moria is now off the island as well. So that's another big surprise. Not all is lost for Blackbeard, at least, because Kuzan, Aokiji, has just told Blackbeard they have Garp. Now, I thought Garp was dead because Kuzan killed him, but apparently he's not dead. Garp is alive. So I'm just like, in One Piece, does death have any type of meaning or anything like that? I guess you could say it does, because Vegapunk died, but then at the same time, there are still some Vegapunks that are still alive. Lilith is still alive. The amalgamation of all the other Vegapunks, the other 5 Vegapunks that didn't survive, or York, all of them, they're still alive. York has been carted off to Moidroy. Lilith is with the Straw Hats, and then the remaining 4 Vegapunks are all formed together into one consciousness. So even there, death did not have any type of finality, and here we find out that Garp is still alive. And so they got Garp tied up, and Garp is a bigger bargaining chip than Kobe. And Garp understood that when he came to save Kobe from the clutches of the Blackbeard pirates. He did that intentionally because he's like, Kobe is the future of the Navy, whereas I'm the past. He was kind of disappointed in Aokiji because he thought Aokiji would also be the future of the Navy, but here we have Aokiji siding with the Blackbeard pirates and working with them. But there's also another thing that Teach has, and that's Pudding. He has Charlotte Leeling's daughter, Pudding. So that's another interesting twist that we have right there. And then we're gonna go over here just a little bit. We see that Lafitte, captain of the 5th ship of the Blackbeard pirates, he is currently watching things taking place at Marie Joy, where the Revolutionary Army is trying to starve out the Celestial Dragons. Everything has been upset. This is a golden opportunity for the Revolution Army to go in there and upset the balance completely. Of course, these Celestial Dragons, they don't know how to take care of themselves. They have to rely upon the auspices of the world government and everybody to bring them food and clean water and all those types of things. We find out the reason why that they are at the highest point in the entire world to begin with is because of the events that happened in the past revolving around Joy Boy and Emu. There's a lot of things that were happening while we were sitting on Egghead Island watching the events of the Straw Hats dealing with the Gorosei as they were trying to prevent the secret of Vegapunk from being distributed. A whole lot of other things was just happening around, and you see that the Revolutionary Army did not waste any time taking advantage of this news being broken out to the world right there. So, and then the last event that took place on the island was the arrival of Katharina Devon, Van Augur, and Caribou. And of course, Caribou would not be there with them were it not for the fact he knows about the whereabouts of Pluton. Pluton being one of the 3 ultimate weapons that can destroy an island. And if he gets the Pluton along with Poseidon, that could be something that Teach can use to take over. And there was one thing that was huge significance as to why Van Augur and Katharina Devon were on Egghead Island to begin with. Van Augur and Katharina Devon had a brief interaction with Saturn, and you guys noticed that Katharina Devon had touched Saturn just only slightly. And the reason she did that is because she has possession of what's known as the Inu Inu no Mi fruit, which is basically the foxtail fruit, and that allows her to take on the powers of anyone that she touches. And the reason why it was so important why Moria got free is because she took on the powers of Gecko Moria temporarily. And so when she took on those powers and he gets free, everybody knows that there's something else going down. But now that Saturn is dead, if she goes anywhere and mimics Saturn, no one will be the wiser unless you happen to be Emu or the Gorosei, because Saturn has been killed. And then the episode ends where everybody on the giant ship was in a drunken stupor and they lost the Thousand Sunny. The Thousand Sunny had the majority of the Straw Hat crew on there. It had Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, Usopp, Chopper, and Nami. They're no longer there. The Thousand Sunny is completely missing. No one knows where it's gone or anything. And so it's a big, huge mystery. But then we end on this cliffhanger right here where we see that as this is Nami right here, she's waking up and she's in this building where everything just looks like Lego. And that brings us to the preview for the next week's episode, which is Nami and a Fix, an adventure in the Block Kingdom. So that's where her and Usopp have ended up. They ended up on another island where there are just nothing but blocks and just looks like a city of Legos. So that's where we're going to be ending up in next week's episode. Can't wait to see any of that. This was a really good episode to get us all back into the groove of things with One Piece. Absolutely not a lot of action going on. There is a lot of political intrigue and a lot of world building and lore going on. So this is a really good episode to get us right back into the groove of everything with One Piece. Can't wait for next week's episode. I think we're going to be getting these in 12 episode blocks from here on out. I don't think that necessarily means that they're going to be turning into seasons, which is great, because why start all over with the episode count when you could just keep on continuing with 1,156 and going forward. So 8 out of 10 for this particular episode. What did you guys think about it? Jump down in the comments and let me know what you guys think, and make sure you like, share, subscribe, turn on the post notifications. All that stuff really helps me out. And oh, by the way, if you guys heard dogs in the background barking, I apologize about that. They get excited when my son comes over, so just want to let you guys know that. And remember, this is Chris Boats signing off. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take it easy.